All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are going to talk about the injuries of Justin Herbert and DeAndre Hopkins. Also, I wanted to touch upon Geno Smith as well because he's a little banged up. So I wanted to get into him and his injury as well. But yeah, these were two big injuries that happened recently, so I just wanted to touch upon them. We'll go into and talk about Justin Herbert first. And yeah, obviously, Justin Herbert, things changed this offseason between the head coach and, the personnel around him. And, the Chargers, obviously a team that, is maybe not looked at as a team that's going to, be a Super Bowl contender. I said they could maybe be a sneaky good team this year, maybe win 9 games, maybe sneak into the playoffs. Because now with Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, maybe they're able, and the defense maybe plays better. Maybe they're able to find a way in. But yeah. So Justin Herbert was diagnosed with plantar fascia in his right foot. And now, for those of you that don't know what it is, now when I think of plantar fascia, I immediately think of Peyton Manning because that's what happened to him in his final year with the Broncos. Well, his final year of his career is he got that. And basically, what that is an inflammation of a thick band of tissue that connects the heel bone to the toes. Is an inflammation of a thick band of tissue called the plantar fascia, or plantar fasciitis is an inflammation of a thick band of tissue called the plantar fascia. This tissue runs across the bottom of the foot and connects the heel bone and toes. This is one of the most common causes of heel pain. So that's just the definition of it on Google. So I just thought just to bring that up in case you don't know what that is. But the injury occurred following Wednesday's practice. He's expected to be sidelined for at least 2 weeks wearing a walking boot. Herbert is anticipating to be ready for the start of the 2024 season with the Chargers opening game against the Raiders in Week 1. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that this happens. You want him to get those reps, especially with his receivers. Because he's got a lot of new receivers, Ladd McConkey, who they drafted, also DJ Chark they brought in. You got a pair of new running backs with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I mean, you got Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnson, who he's already played with, but, you want to, build up that rapport with those guys. Quentin Johnson's going into his second year, and they're hoping that he does better than his rookie season because his rookie season he did not play well. Drops were a problem. But, yeah, this is just unfortunate that this happens. Again, injuries just, they're always going to happen. But this one at least is not, I mean, it is a big injury, but it's not something that seems like it's going to keep Herbert out. It's not going to leak into the regular season, which is good. But these are Herbert's stats from last year. He got hurt late in the season, missed, the final few games. 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Passed for over 3,000 yards. I was having a good year. It just things kind of fell apart after he got hurt. The Chargers they ended up finishing 5-12 last year, and you had injuries to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert got injured around the same time. But yeah, the Chargers just. Once Herbert went down, that was it. I mean, that was the nail in the coffin for their season. You had Easton Stick starting the remaining games for them. They still got him. They got Max Dugan, as well as Casey Bowman as well. So they're going to be getting the reps while Herbert is out. But like I said, it's not something that should leak into the regular season. But, again, it's an injury to your franchise quarterback. And that's reps that you're losing here in training camp. And, he's not going to play in the preseason. And who knows if he was going to play in the preseason anyways. But, it's just unfortunate that this has to happen. But, just got to hope that he comes back and, plays well. The Chargers is going to be interesting what they do this year. I think Harbaugh is going to turn them around, because that's, what he does with the 49ers. He did that with, obviously Michigan, turning them into national champions. So Now let's see what he could do with the Chargers. The Chargers are, hoping that he can, because last year was rough. Last year was rough. So now the other injury I wanted to talk about was DeAndre Hopkins' injury. So now he suffered a knee injury, so he's going to be out, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. I have it in my notes here. Yeah, so he's expected to miss about 4 weeks due to a knee injury suffered during practice. Now, Tom Pelissero reported the injury, and these were his stats from last year. Had over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. That 3-touchdown game in Will Levis's debut. And obviously the Titans, they made a lot of moves. They brought in Calvin Ridley, they brought in Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard. They drafted J.C. Latham, one of the best tackles in the draft. So, they're trying to put Will Levis in a position to be successful. And, losing DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, this is an injury that could leak into the regular season, more so than Herbert's. And, DeAndre Hopkins is getting older. He's in his 30s now. And, you wonder if this is the beginning of the end for him. Again, I mean, he still had over 1,000 yards last year. But, he has been banged up over the course of his career. You just hope that, he bounces back and he's able to come back. Because I want to see what this, Titans team can do with the additions that they made, especially, to pair up alongside Hopkins with Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. Now, I know I've said this, but the receiving core of the Titans, I mean, if this was, 2018 and this was the receiving core, that'd be one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. But, now that we're in 2024, I mean, again, I don't think it's a bad receiving core, but, it's not like what it would be if, obviously if it was 2018. So, but yeah, it's up to Will Levis. Show that you're the guy. I mean, this division with all these young quarterbacks, and I kind of rank, him and the Titans number 4. Go out there and prove that you're not, and that you belong. But it's going to be tough if they don't have Hopkins. So that's going to put more of an emphasis on Calvin Ridley, on Tyler Boyd. So, but I think they're more than capable of getting the job done. Those are 2 good receivers. But yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is 32. I mean, Tyler Boyd is about to be 30. I think he's 29. Ridley is close to 30. So yeah, let's see if they can get it done. But yeah, it could be without DeAndre Hopkins. At least for the start of the season. I mean, he should be back. If he's not ready for week 1, I mean, he should come back early on in the season. But the other injury I did want to talk about was Geno Smith. So they said he's out indefinitely, the Seahawks. I think he's dealing with a shoulder injury, I want to say. I'm trying to see what the injury was. I believe it was so Smith was sorry, I'm mistaken. So he was getting his knee and hip worked on, and that's why he missed the first practice. So there's that. Right now, Sam Howell is getting the first team reps. And I did say I think Sam Howell could push Geno Smith for that starting job. But yeah, testing on Geno Smith's knee and hip didn't reveal anything significant. So yeah, it seems like, I think what I was reading just now, it seems like it's just precautionary. They don't want to risk anything. So, we'll see, if that bodes well for Sam Howell. He gets a chance to show what he can do with the first strings. But I feel like we will see him at some point for the Seahawks. Because, it's a new regime. If Geno Smith struggles, maybe they give Sam Howell a shot. I don't know. Maybe I'm too optimistic when it comes to Sam Howell, but at least early on in the season last year with the Commanders, I thought he played well. And the Commanders were just not good last year. The offensive line was not good for them. So I don't know. Maybe a change of scenery for Sam Howell, better weapons. Maybe this could be a good spot for him if he gets a chance to, play. I don't know. Because the Seahawks have, a really good supporting cast with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, the running backs, Smith and Jigba. I mean, that's it's a good situation to be in, and I think this if it's I mean Geno Smith was what he is. I mean, let's see what Sam Howell can do. That's kind of my mindset. But if he can't do it, yeah, the Seahawks got to look for an upgrade at the quarterback position because they have a lot of talent on this team. But I feel like the quarterback position is kind of what has held them back. But that's just my thoughts on it. So, but yeah, those are the injury updates. DeAndre Hopkins' injuries seems like it's more serious than the other injuries. Like Justin Herbert looks like he's going to play week 1. Like I said, Geno Smith, it seems like it's just precautionary, nothing significant. Like I said, with the injuries that he's dealing with. But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, that's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, injuries, they're always going to happen, and these are the latest injuries in that. So we are going to take our next break of the show, and then when we come back, we will rank the running backs in the AFC South. So I know we talked about DeAndre Hopkins a little bit, but we will rank the running backs in the AFC South when we come back from our next break. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.